WHAS 11 Good Morning Kentuckiana starts now with weather first.
Good morning, Kentuckiana. Eric King here alongside Haley Minogue on what's already proven to be a very busy morning weather-wise.
Yes, which is good news. We need the rain. I listened to our meteorologist to a T. They said wait until after Derby to get those tomatoes in the ground. So guess what I did yesterday? I put those tomatoes in the ground, and I am now excited to be getting some wet weather to kind of help me out. The less I have to do, the better.
Wet weather, good. Hail, Colleen, not so much.
Hail can knock some of those tomatoes off. Yeah, we saw a lot of it. Check out this photo that we just got sent in. Cheryl took this in Louisville. This is the type of size hail that we saw, probably around penny to golf ball size. But I love it when they send in photos where we can compare it to an item, such as an apple. So we're really able to see and get a wage on how large of hail that we saw here in Jefferson County. So again, from Corydon to Jefferson County, saw multiple hail reports across town. And so if you're walking out the door and you see some dents on your cars, you can blame the hail. We did not see any tornadoes. Really, the only severe weather threat was the hail. So Jefferson County, you're now in the clear. There are no more storms heading your way. We are drying out. In fact, those thunderstorms really started to weaken. So over Bardstown, just seeing a little downpour, some frequent lightning. There are no other indications of hail, and that threat of severe weather, again, is low. Jefferson County, no more rain in your area. We're kind of on the other end of it. And in fact, it's really going to be a nice setup. That last bit of some storms moving out of Bardstown by 7 o'clock this morning. We'll have some clouds around lunchtime, temperatures starting out in the 60s, but by the time we head towards the afternoon, we'll actually see some sunshine. I'm talking about temperatures upper 70s, low 80s with a really nice setup. But from Corydon, really saw the largest of hail, baseball size. So Sam, when we're talking about hail reports this morning, the roads are wet. Are there any issues out there right now?
Yeah, there's two crashes we're watching at this hour. I want to get started and mention where the first one that we've been watching for a couple of hours has been coming in. It's actually blocking the left shoulder and the left lane in the upper left corner of your screen. That's actually at Fern Valley Road and I-65. We have an additional crash though as well as you approach the Waterston Expressway on 65 northbound. The right shoulder and left shoulder are blocked at that scene. So again, we are going to be keeping tabs on these crashes, and they are expected to bring some delays through the course of this morning. Eric and Haley, I'll send it back over to you two.
You could voice your opinions and offer some suggestions, but at this point I want to see action.
That is Janice Walls, and she's one of more than 50 concerned people that met at the main library downtown to talk about ideas with the U.S. Department of Justice. And her message was very clear. You heard it. She wants to see action, and she wants to see it right now. The Department of Justice is back in town prepping to negotiate a consent decree with the city and the Metro Police Department. This comes after the department released a report in March showing Metro Police for years routinely discriminated in its policing, violating the rights of those in the black community.
Investigators want to hear what the public wants. They're looking for suggestions about the upcoming consent decree that will oversee LMPD. Now, Jim is joining us in the studio right now to kind of go over some of those details for those of us that were not at the meeting yesterday. Jim, good morning. It sounds like a lot of information coming out.
That's right, Haley and Eric. There was a lot of information being brought forth, a little bit by the DOJ, but mostly from people here in the community. Last night was the very first of these evening meetings that's going to happen all week long. This one held down at the downtown public library branch. And officials from the Department of Justice and the Inspector General office feel like it was a pretty productive meeting. About 50 people showed up to share their stories and their experiences with Louisville Metro Police and ideas about what should be included in the impending consent decree. Now, that decree is essentially going to be a blueprint for how the federal government will oversee the Louisville Metro Police Department and what kind of changes and reforms they will institute. Now, as you all said, some of the people in attendance wanted to see some of these actions go into place immediately, solve some of these issues now, but others had a more skeptical look at how long this process will take. In the past, we have reported that experts believe in this pending consent decree could take about a year just to be able to come to some sort of agreement, a very long process. Now, these meetings are part of that process and a very important part of that process. People in attendance last night said that they are optimistic about the impact of these meetings and this decree could have in the long run.
While they move slowly, they have created some successes with these consent decrees. And I do like the idea that they are forcing citizens to think about how to have valid input in the system and in the process.
Craig Greenberg has already announced some measures to improve the department while the city continues to negotiate with the DOJ. His budget proposal puts more than $200 million into Metro Police and creates 33 new positions, some of those including new training jobs and also warrant specialists. Now, there is another meeting that is scheduled from 6 to 7:30 tonight at South Central Regional Library. If you can't attend that evening meeting, there's also a walk-in meeting available for people at Shawnee Library today from 11 to 2. Eric, Haley.
All right, Jim, thanks so much. Let's take a closer look at what's next for the LMPD. After the city and the DOJ come to an agreement, the consent decree, the federal government will then monitor those changes. The decree is a federal court order which will hold the department and the city legally accountable. The LMPD will have to prove it's making equitable changes. Deadlines could be set for the police department to hit its different goals, all under the watchful eye of the federal government. In other cities in similar situations, it's taken anywhere from 6 to 11 years to get the okay from a federal judge, saying the police department completed its compliance.
Coming up on 10 after the hour, a carjacking suspect is expected in court this morning after leading police on a chase that ended in a crash. This happened around 4:30 yesterday afternoon in the California neighborhood. Metro Police detectives say they witnessed a carjacking right there at Algonquin Parkway and McCluskey Avenue. Police tried to pull over the suspect, 45-year-old Octavius Long, but they say Long kept driving, hitting several cars on 7th Street along the way. Police say Long eventually stopped when he hit a car at 22nd and Garland. Everybody involved in that crash is expected to be okay. Long is charged with assault and robbery.
Right now, all lanes on I-65 near downtown Louisville are clear after a semi-driver lost control and rolled on the interstate. Now, this happened around noon yesterday. You can see the huge flames and black smoke coming from the crash. Police say the semi-driver lost control just south of the Kennedy Bridge, jackknifed, then rolled over, catching fire. The impact from the crash caused part of the cab to go over the side of the retaining wall. The semi-driver died during the crash.
We have what looks to be a promising update on Officer Nicholas Wilt. In a social media post, the Louisville Metro Police Foundation said he is now off of his ventilator and showing neurological improvements. Now, he still has pneumonia and is entering the long haul of his recovery, but has been steadily improving all week. Officer Wilt was shot in his head almost a month ago as one of the responding officers to be shot at the mass shooting at the Old National Bank.
Happening today, the JCPS board is holding a special meeting to discuss implementing a weapon detection system in schools. Proposed by Superintendent Dr. Marty Polio, the system includes AI-based touchless body scanners that detect weapons without people having to take off any items. If approved, the board will begin looking for a vendor to provide the system. Tonight's meeting is open to the public and starts at 5 at the Van Hoos Education Center on Newburgh Road.
All right, Colleen, what's that real quick weather update for us?
So thankfully, the threat of severe weather is almost to an end. Those thunderstorms, in fact, I'm just going to say it has come to an end. Those thunderstorms are fizzling out. Really, the last bit of it is right over Bardstown and Taylorsville right now. Not even producing maybe a few lightning strikes, heavy downpours, but we saw a lot of hail reports throughout the morning. I will walk you through some of those new photos that we saw hail here in Jefferson County coming up in 10 minutes. Now, the roads are wet, Sam. What's the one thing we should know about traffic?
Yeah, those that do travel northbound on 65, we actually have 2 crashes that are underway right now as you do approach I-264 or the Waterson Expressway. I'm going to talk more in detail about the overall drive times expected, but please note that there are 2 crashes, one at Fern Valley Road and one again at the Waterson Expressway. Eric and Haley, back over to you.